Welcome to this episode of the Catalyst Podcast, the future of holistic health, collaborative patient care with Practice Better. I have a regret. I know I always say live life with no regrets, and I do, but I actually found a regret, and it is that I don't have Practice Better. You see, I started my practice 8 years ago, and jumping into the world of choosing an EMR, I went with one EMR that required two separate training sessions. And I figured, okay, this is it. I'm here. And I quickly abandoned that one 3 months in and transferred my patient files to the second EMR with which I am still using. And it's okay, it does what it needs to. But I've always been jealous of those practitioners that use Practice Better. You see, more and more of my mentees inside my Catalyst studio have used Practice Better. So I see firsthand all the great things it does. And I took a leap and reached out to Natalie Mullin and said, come on to my podcast. Let's talk all about how healthcare can be when we envision an ecosystem of support for patients and practitioners. So, in this episode, you're going to hear us talk about how you can choose an EMR that automates for you, that has AI charting, that saves time, that creates a consistent support system for your patients so that they can take accountability and they actually get better faster. And so even if you already have a different EMR or you're just trying to mull over different choices, please listen to this episode. You're going to get some great inspiration on how to rethink your whole medical practice and how to innovate and create something that is uniquely yours. And if you listen till the end, there's a special offer here that you can click and get a discount after you have a free trial. So it's a win win. So let's dive in and talk to Natalie Mullin. Hi, if we haven't met yet, my name is Dr. Lara Salyer. I am a former burned out family practice doctor, and I help overworked physicians looking to catalyze their inner spark and spirit. I believe in a world where women physicians flourish inside and outside the exam rooms by redefining medicine as a practice of healing arts. If you're ready to step into your highest creative power and transform your practice, this channel is for you. Hit subscribe, and together we will color outside the lines of your work life masterpiece. Welcome to this episode of the Catalyst Podcast. I am thrilled to be having this wonderful conversation with Natalie Mullin, who is the partnerships manager at Practice Better. And for those that have been listening and have been inside my mentorship, they know how much I love Practice Better as an EMR. And not because I use it actually. And this is an honest claim. When I can say this is the one only regret I have when I built my practice 8 years ago, is I discovered Practice Better way too late. And so I'm excited to kind of fawn over Natalie and why Practice Better is the future of integrative and functional care. And we're going to dive into collaboration and all things tech and efficiency and productivity. So, once again, thank you, Natalie, for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh my gosh. So I'm going to dive right in. Practice Better. For those that have not ever explored a platform, especially if you're new to functional and integrated medicine, here is my take is watching all of my practitioners inside my Catalyst Studio services. They love Practice Better for several reasons. And the top reasons are it's very user friendly, right? It's very, they walk in, they don't need a training. That was my first red flag. Believe it or not, I'm on my second EMR from years ago. The first one required two 4-hour training sessions. That should have been a
Wow.
red flag, right, Natalie?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it should be user friendly. It should be not that hard. But then on the flip side, the patient facing side, it should also be very user friendly. And Practice Better does a great job making it so simple to drip content, especially pre filming videos. If you have things you want to educate your patients for, like an elimination diet, and a lot of this repetitive things that we do in a functional protocol. Practice Better makes it effortless and also to bring community together. So I just want to hear your story, Natalie. What brought you to Practice Better? And tell us a little bit of background.
Well, you so practice better so well, so thank you. You can come join our team.
Well, I love
Um,
it.
yeah, but you know what? My story is interesting and maybe a little bit surprising of how I came into this world. I actually come from a teaching background, so I was a teacher for 10 years, supporting elementary students and high school students too. But I just got to this point where I wasn't exactly feeling fulfilled. I was like, I think I just need to do something different. And it's hard because sometimes we go to school and we have this plan. It's funny, we were just talking before the call about these
Right?
plans. So you can have these plans that you've made for your life. This is what I'm going to do. But sometimes life just takes you in a different direction. And I really think it's important to honor your own intuition and also honor the ability to just explore new paths and new opportunities. And so I became a wellness coach. And so when I became a wellness coach, I was like, I really love this. I love the impact I'm I'm making on other people. How can I do this more? And then I kind of stumbled into the health tech world at Practice Better. And I love it because I'm supporting other health and wellness professionals as they are continuing to make their impact across the world. So it's so aligned for me. And I think alignment is so important. Like I'm sure we all know somebody who's in a job that they absolutely hate and they just do it for the money. But I didn't want to be driven by money. I wanted to be driven by purpose and by impact. And I think I found my happy place at Practice Better. I'm really happy
Ooh.
here.
Pause, and I wanna reemphasize, I wanna be driven by my purpose and impact, and that is a strong statement right there, and so great that you're letting that lead the way and be the pilot light for you, and it makes sense now hearing your background in education, why you're in Practice Better's whole ecosystem because it's very aligned with adult education. I mean, it feels very much you could tell. I mean, just the way it's laid out, just the way it's visually done. It's like perfect. It's like, okay, here's where we go next. Here's the next but it's just made for learning. And I think that's the true reason why a lot of practitioners go into a career in medical in healthcare and in medicine. Yes, it's to help heal, but honestly, it's to teach. I mean, that's the original meaning of docere, which is doctor to teach. And we don't realize that until it's too late and we're already sucked into a bad EMR system. And really all that is prescriptive and directive and here, take this. And it's just gross, honestly. It's not visually appealing. It's not really compelling to want to learn. And that's why Practice Better is different. It makes complete sense that you're in this as a teacher. So
No,
why do you
I want
think?
to
Oh, yeah.
just before I want to say one thing because you made a connection for me that I've actually never drawn myself. So I appreciate that. Sometimes people refer to us as like a learning management software. And
Mhm.
so that's because a lot of the practitioners who come to us, they want to educate their clients. They want to educate their patients. But when you're in the room or even if you're on a virtual call, you might not always have that time, right? So,
Mhm.
especially if you're in primary care, if you're a doctor, your time is more limited. So thinking, how can we still educate our patients because we want them to make lifestyle changes that are going to allow them to live healthier lives, right? So we have a
Yes.
programs feature that allows just that. You can create courses and modules. You record yourself once so that you don't have to have the same conversation over and over again. You create the resources, you create the handout, and it all automatically gets sent. You can choose the cadence at which it gets sent out to your community. And then that way they are able to kind of self serve, but also be active and proactive in their learning and in their healthcare journey so that it's not just reactive to prescriptions, but it's no, I'm proactive. I'm changing my lifestyle. I'm changing my nutrition. I have the data from the labs. I'm working with my practitioner. I'm informed. And now I have more support because that's the other part of it. Clients,
Mhm.
a lot of them want to change. Patients, a lot of them want to change, but they just don't have that support. So when you put these tools in place that they can come and access whenever they need to, that allows them to be successful in their health journey.
Yes, you said it perfectly right there. And I think that is the little nugget that as a practitioner, I can speak from my experience, but probably similar to many coming from a conventional standpoint where I was a family medicine doctor, rural setting for many years, and then ventured into a solo entrepreneur kind of functional medicine space where now I help people learn how to do a membership practice and how to scale that. And it's really interesting because here you think you've been trained by the system that patients, all they want is the information, the diagnosis, and the pills and the supplements, and they're going to be fine, right? You just set them on the path and they know exactly how to do it. And you quickly realize that what you're trying to do is educate. What is your secret superpower energy source? I have two: a morning cup of coffee and the energy I get from connecting with practitioners just like you. Since 2019, I've had the deep honor of working with practitioners all across the world and help them express their own unique healing style to transform patient lives without burnout. And I've put a lot of free resources in an online hub just for you. Head to drlarasalyer.com/catalyst and download some of my freebies like the Catalyst Calendar Method, which will teach you how to put more flow in your week, or the Functional Micro Practice Checklist so you can compare your journey to where you may want to go. And my favorite, the Catalyst Archetype Quiz. It will match you to one of 4 personas, and you'll learn what is your best creative expression and also where are you most likely to drop into burnout. Knowledge is power, and awareness is curative. But most of all, connect with me. Give me that superpower energy source, and we can grab coffee at the same time. I leave spots in my calendar open, a few every week, just for you. And if you use the coupon podcast, you can waive the fee for these brainstorming sessions. So let's get online, let's share a cup of coffee, and book your appointment for free with the coupon code podcast. Go to drlarasalyer.com/catalyst, and I can't wait to chat with you online. Let's create some magic. Education is the secret sauce. Patients can be told what pills to take or what foods to eat, but when you don't have that net of structure, and especially with Practice Better, you have multiple ways to teach, visual, audio, you can write. It is very much a learning management system, and that's the beauty of it. Is it does go incognito. It's kind of crazy to think this is an EMR. You can actually deliver patient care, but it's so much easier than stuffing things into a stuffy protocol and hoping that they're going to understand. One of the first things I did in my practice is I signed up for Teachable, which is a learning management system. And this is why I wish, because it's like you integrate both so well. And this is key. Do you have any? I'm curious. Excuse me. Hold on a second. Wow. Okay. I'm going to tell my team to edit that one out too. Okay. I'm curious, as you have helped practitioners through the years, do you have any data on what kinds of courses or things that they teach most commonly? I have some ideas of what it might be, but I'm curious if you ever keep track of like what are the most top things that functional practitioners teach.
Ooh, that's a good question. I wouldn't say to quote me on this. I would have to circle back with our team, but just in conversation, like weight loss management is a really big topic, and just how to better support weight loss so that it's sustainable and consistent. We also see a lot with stress. So, how to reduce stress, how to reduce anxiety and depression. And everything is interconnected, right? So, when we think of it from a holistic perspective, we can't really just think about you might get your blood work back and maybe you have this data and you have this information, but if you're not sleeping well or if you're stressed at home or if your job is stressful, it's going to impact your body. It's going to impact your results. So that's why we're thinking about how do we incorporate nutrition? How do we incorporate exercise? How do we incorporate lifestyle, sleep? All of this together so that we can really have those transformations, right? Like, and I think at Practice Better, that's what we care so much about. It's not about, oh, here's some medication and then just go and you're the same and you're just popping all these pills. It's like, no, how can you really thrive? How can you live a better life? How can you appreciate your body and just be fully here as much as possible? So I think for our practitioners, they really are creating programs that support helping for that transformation to happen.
Yes, I love that you use the word transformation, and that is what it's about. It isn't transactional care like you would see in a conventional setting. And I'm not downplaying my conventional colleagues. I was there. I deeply cared for my patients in that system. And I don't know if I ever really was able to transform lives, maybe, but really I didn't have the chance. There was no educational way that I could host a little mini lecture or invite a group of my patients together to share. And that's what Practice Better allows, that creativity to help you design your own culture, your own ecosystem of learning and of support and care. And I think this is important because not just for patient well-being, but practitioner well-being. We want them to enjoy their career. And how can practitioners maintain their well-being while supporting patients through their health journeys?
Yeah, well, this is a question right up my alley as a holistic wellness coach as well, because I am so passionate about practitioner well-being because it's a field that unfortunately a lot of people there's high burnout, right? And so we need our care providers to be cared for so that they can impact the rest of society, right? So thinking about how can practitioners best support themselves using technology. So having automations, right? Because what happens is so many care providers, depending on, where they fall on the spectrum in terms of their professional discipline, they might meet with their patients or they meet with their clients, and then in the evenings they're doing all of this other paperwork, right? Tech work, computer work, they're updating records, they're doing their notes and charting. That's when they're doing their billing. And then this is cutting into their family time or their alone time, their rest time, their recovery time. So, how do we use automations to be able to do a lot of this for you? So, Practice Better can do a lot of these things for you so that when your workday is done, you have time for yourself. However you choose to spend that time, right? And it's funny because we have so many practitioners who come to us from traditional systems and they're like,
Mhm.
that's not what I thought I was getting into. And I'm not making the impact that I wanted to. And so they're thinking, how can they do it on their terms? And I think that idea of practicing on your own terms is so powerful when we can empower ourselves and we can truly ask ourselves, what do we want? And then if a practitioner is saying to themselves, what do I want? What kind of life do I want to live? How do I want to impact my patients, my clients? How do I want to show up? And how do I want that to impact me? Right? Because you may be making a great impact for your clients, but if you're stressed, was that a part of the deal? Is that the vision you had for yourself? Right. And so when we could just spend a little bit of time and think to ourselves, no, I want to feel good as I'm serving my patients and clients. I want to have time for myself to travel, to know that things are automated in the background. I'm just making
Yes.
money easily. That's why I really love the idea of a membership practice, a concierge practice, because it takes a lot of stress out of things. And then you also get to work with people who are really invested in
Yes.
their care and really want to, because nothing can be more frustrating than you keep spending your time, you keep
Mhm.
meeting with patients or clients, and then they don't change. They don't take the information. They take the information, they kinda just set it down as soon as they end that time with you. You
Yeah.
want those people who are looking to make that transformation because that's where you can really make that impact too. And the
Yes.
power of community and automations and technology that can support you so that you don't have to we wanna think one to many. And there's
Mhm.
nothing wrong with one-to-one. If that's what you want, that's completely fine. I actually love one-to-one for me personally. But a lot of practitioners who have a full-time practice, right? They are thinking, how can they do one to many so that they can leverage their education, their skills, their knowledge, and what they're passionate about and transform multiple lives, but without an additional stress, burden, labor on them.
Beautiful. Right. Absolutely, Natalie. And this is the kind of mind jump that we all need to make because when you're in a traditional system for so long, you sort of don't realize what it's like on the outside and what's possible. And like you said, you can practice so differently. I like to tell all of my mentees in the Catalyst studio, it's like I'm giving you a box of Legos and it's up to you to build your own castle, but we'll give you blueprints of many different varieties and you get to put the windows where you want, the doors where you want, and the automation and tech abilities now are astronomically helpful. So there's so many ways that you can craft your own practice unique to your style, especially in a membership, which creates kind of a win-win, right? Because patients start to learn that the provider is not the answer, right? I mean, like that's kind of what traditional healthcare wants you to think is like you have to go to the doctor and they have to tell you what you have, and then you have to keep going back, and, that's just how the system is built. And when you jump out of that and you put that different lens on and you go, "Wait a second, what if I empower my patients? What if I give them a resource and I give them a place to call home and they know that they can count on these things, that I provide video, and if they don't understand what I said during my visit, they can meet in a group and they can hear from their peers." And, like, you're starting to expand this beautiful world, and guess what happens? They need you less. And that's great. That's what you want. You want them to feel like, "Oh, I got this. I know where I can go to ask the questions, but I got this. I got support." And community is where it's at with the collaboration and practice better. And that's why I love it. You've really kind of honed in on a lot of those key pieces that allows it to be used so easily for practitioners. And I know it wasn't built in a day. I mean, Practice Better has undergone so many exciting upgrades. So I would like to ask your opinion. What was your most exciting or I guess maybe surprisingly useful upgrade that Practice Better has implemented maybe in the last 5 to 10 years?
Oh, I know what it is immediately. And we just had our 10-year anniversary. I think it was in December, if I'm right. So we just
Yay.
we just crossed that 10-year mark. But right before I answered this question, I just wanted to touch on something you said about community, because I think people underestimate the power of community. And some of our top practitioners, they share that actually the way that they're able to not only have their own financial success, but have success in terms of their patients and clients and the outcomes is because they'll host, weekly meetings or monthly meetings where their patients and clients come together and they share that information and knowledge. There's power in community and power in accountability. So sharing stories, sharing what's worked for you. This actually reduces pressure from the practitioner. They don't have to be the one person who has all the information. They just start the Zoom call, they provide some resources, and they bring good people together who are
Yes.
all committed to one common goal. You would be amazed to see how that power and education gets distributed and shared, and the knowledge gets shared. And then they go and share it with their communities. This is how we create the impact and the ripple, right? It can't just be one person who's, the great leader who has all the information, and you have to keep coming back to them, because what you create is a dependency. And then that
Yes.
is not going to help us have transformation, right? It's
Right.
going to that's not what we're after. But to answer your question, I think the most exciting thing for us was last year we released AI charting. And this was kind of game changing. And I'm really proud because our company, Practice Better, we were first to market with this feature. Now, of course, AI is everywhere, right? So even my son, I think, is going to learn AI, and he's 3. But, we were the first to come up with AI charting. And so what we were thinking, like, how do we solve for our practitioners? How do we make their lives easier so that they can deliver care in an easier way? The biggest pain point for a lot of practitioners is time. And one of the biggest things that sucks up their time is doing their notes and charting and just keeping on
Mhm.
top of that. So we thought, how can we use technology to reduce this burden for them? So we created AI charting. What it does is if you have an in-person or a telehealth session, it's going to record that session for you. After it records, you get a transcript, you get some little bullet point notes. It's great. But then it will actually write the note for you. It can write it in SOAP note format, it can write it in paragraph format, summary format. And then the practitioner sits back and they look and they're like, oh, this was already done. It's done in about 30, not even 30 seconds. And imagine if you're having hour-long conversations with your patients or clients, or half an hour, how much time that would save you in the course of a week, in the course of a month. So our practitioners have reported back saying that this has been life changing for them, and they're able to free up so much time. And what we didn't expect, so we just created this thinking we're going to save practitioners time. What we didn't expect is our practitioners would report back to us it has actually increased client patient outcomes because there's more data in the notes. Just think about
Yes.
it. When you're trying to have these sessions, there's only so much you can note and right, and you're trying to be present facing and listening. So the AI is able to capture things that maybe you would have missed. And so now the practitioners are able to create more detailed treatment plans or more specific treatment plans, and the clients are experiencing better improved health outcomes. So that's like super exciting for us. And just we've built upon that. So we're continuing to think of how can we use AI in responsible ways where the practitioner is still the source of truth, right? We don't want the AI to be giving the information and dictating the treatment plans. We want to empower our practitioners, but how can we use AI to support them in their work, especially to reduce just arduous manual tasks and admin labor?
That's beautiful because I do feel like we're coming through the dark ages. And unfortunately, with burnout, where I speak about burnout and the intersection of the way flow and creativity is the opposite brainwave pattern than burnout in the brain. And because what we've done for years is strip practitioners of their creativity, of their ability to do things differently. We've kept them in this logarithmic kind of checkbook sort of robotic way, and yet given them handcuffs saying, no, well, you're going to type out all your notes or dictate them. And so now it's like we're coming through that tunnel, and this is a renaissance where it's fun to be a doctor again because you can have your chart done and you can do things your own way. I mean, you've provided like a kingdom where they can go in and create their own castle and say, you know what, doesn't have to be as hard as it used to be. AI is game changing in so many ways, and I don't wanna hold you to it, but do you have any sneak peeks of the future of what might be coming down the pike, or is that top secret?
I mean, are you twisting my hands or
We don't have
we
no torture here. No.
I know, no torture, yeah, that's a different kind of kingdom.
Right, right, right,
Um,
right.
but for this one, we have some exciting things that are gonna be released this year. One that we have coming up very soon is going to be revamping our template library. And so again, thinking, how can we be useful to our practitioners? How can we save them time? We already have a lot of templates in our platform, and that's great because I don't know if you've ever had to go through any kind of
Oh,
form builder online. It
yes,
takes so long.
it does.
Like, you would not believe how long it takes to put in all the headings and to kind of get the formatting right. And so when you have a template, you can just start right away. And what's nice is about all of our templates, they're all customizable. So some of our templates, especially for in functional medicine practices, they're very long forms that because you
Mhm.
need to collect so much data. So one
Yep.
of our functional medicine forms is like 19 pages. So imagine, but it's there for you. It's already done. So you can start using it with your clients right away. Now imagine if you had to sit there and type out for this template those 19 pages. It would take you a couple of days, right? And a lot of frustration. So we're going to be revamping our template library, increasing it because we have more and more practitioners coming to us from a variety of disciplines. So we want to be able to better serve the spectrum and just give more forms, more templates so that they can just get to practicing faster and just alleviate that headache. And I think that's going to be very exciting for our community.
Oh my gosh, this is fantastic. It is. It's really an opportunity to just try this out. I have well, okay, before we're done, I have one last question is what advice would you give to new practitioners who want to adopt a holistic approach, but they're unsure where to start?
You know what? This is a good question. I think it starts with intention, to be very honest.
Mhm.
Make the intention mentally that I am going to practice a different way. I am going to go in this direction. And you would be surprised the resources that will start to come to you, right? But if we just have the hope without the intention, it will never be able to act on it. And I very much believe in taking action. So if we want to practice more holistically, you know, of course you can sign up for courses, but sometimes it's just about talking to other people, finding tools. Like Practice Better is it's almost getting you ahead in a way because a lot of our tools are already built into our platform to support holistic minded practitioners. So instead of having to use 5 different platforms trying to pull everything together. That can get a bit stressful. But
Mhm.
if you find a platform, oh, we already connect with FullScript, so you can order supplements. We already connect with Rupa and Avexia. You can order all your labs. We already connect with your Google Calendar. We already connect with Clean Life, so you can do your nutrition and meal planning. When you use a platform that is so well integrated, it just allows you to deliver that care in a better way. And I would say the other thing is think about if you're going to be treating holistically, like we have food and lifestyle journals, so you can collect data from your patients and clients automatically and you involve them in the process. When we think about collaborative care, I really do think this is the future of healthcare is it needs to be more collaborative. It can't be prescriptive and coming from, you know, somebody in power down to somebody else. It needs to be the patient and the provider, the client and the provider giving this exchange together, right? And just listening more, listening more, and really developing treatment plans that can look to solve these issues at the root, right? As opposed to just putting a little band-aid on it and they go about. So I think those strategies are really helpful for practitioners who just want to get started. Just find a
Yes.
platform that at least is going to allow you over time to build the kind of practice that you want and desire. And again, set that intention. I want to be more holistically minded. I want to I want to make this type of impact on my patients and clients. So what tools can I use to best support me in that endeavor? And then of course, over time you add education and other resources to support you in that way. And
Yes, and
community.
yes, it could
Yes, we
and
have lots
all
of community events too, lots of
you
trainings,
do.
education,
Yes,
summits,
yes.
so
And
many
it's
things.
beautiful to have that community because you're not alone. And that's the thing I see is practitioners get really excited, inspired. They start with a new tech platform and they're all excited. I'm going to make an impact. I'm going to do medicine my own way. And they have a vision and then they get into it and they're overwhelmed and they easily, have these self-sabotage behaviors. We all do. We have all of that because our brain wants us to stay familiar and safe and small. And when we're doing something new, it's kind of scary. And so that's where community comes comes in for the practitioners, right? And so search out a community. I'm so glad Practice Better does the summits and brings the practitioners together so they can feel that camaraderie again. Doctors' lounges are a thing of the past. They don't even build them in hospitals anymore. And that's a
Wow.
sad thing is we need to continue to stay here with each other so you don't feel alone. And if you're listening and you're looking, the mentorships out there, find a mentorship home, find a home where other practitioners, find an EMR like Practice Better that brings practitioners together because it's beyond patient care. It is your care. It is your dream, your work life masterpiece, and you deserve to thrive. And especially if you're transforming lives, you also deserve to have some of that wonderful energy come right back at you so that you're not dying on the sword. Now, I know you're offering a special. Do you want to talk a little bit about that, Natalie?
I do. So, at Practice Better, again, we're always trying to help our practitioners. And we do have a discount code, if anybody wants it. If they'd like to try out our platform, you can do a free 14-day trial. So there is no commitment there. You can test it out, see if it's gonna work for you, right? And you can use all of our resources. You can contact our help team, our support team, and they can kind of walk you through things. And so we're offering 20% off for 4 months. And so the link will be in the show notes. You can just click that. You don't need to
Beautiful.
enter any code. It will just allow you, once you sign up for the free trial, you'll see right at the bottom that you'll get that 20% off for 4 months if you become a paid customer after. If you decide it's not the right platform for you, that's okay too. But I would encourage you just to try, like, see, look at different options out there, just the kind of same way that you said that your one regret is that you never used Practice Better because you found it too late. I can't tell you how many times I've heard that same story. So you're not alone. And I have so many people come, they say, man, we've just been slugging it out with this other EMR or other EHR, and it's just not doing what we need it to do. And we want to do more. They want to move beyond just typical practice management. They really want to see, how can we use programs? How can we use packages? How can we create online courses? How can we create community? And EMRs, they're not going to give you that. That's not what they were designed for, right? They're
Mhm.
replicating the hospital system. And goodness, we know that the
Mhm.
hospital system has no intention of putting, transformative healthcare outcomes at the top of their bucket list. And, they're not prioritizing community and things like that. But I think that, so, just try it out as 20% off for 4 months. You can click that link. But I think Practice Better is a good place to start. And we have a free community too. So even if you're using another EMR or EHR and you're just looking to be in solidarity and community with other practitioners, our community is open to anybody to join. It's community.practicebetter.io. Anybody can join. You don't have to be a customer. And you can still take advantage of all of the trainings that we have. You can ask questions, you can network with other practitioners, right? If you're looking for support or mentorship, they can join your program. So there's so many resources and tools out there. Just take action. That's what I'd say. Take
Yes.
take action and move towards the life that you
Wonderful.
want and the way you want to practice.
Oh, yes, right there. Take action, move towards a life that you want. I think that's the biggest step for a lot of us. Because, again, in medical school, in nursing school, nurse practitioner, PA, chiropractor, you're in a training program because you're smart and you can do things on your own and you're independent and you kind of get good at being that way. And it's time to learn to come back and join community and to say, you don't have to know it all. And there's a lot of other people at the table that are happy to help and to kind of bounce these ideas off and you get inspired. So thank you again, Natalie. I mean, I am a huge fan. You're making me seriously consider just being like, maybe I could transfer all my stuff. Like, because I just
You
love Practice
could.
Better.
We have a migration team, free migration support. They'll do it all for you. You just show up one day and you open up Practice Better and you're like, oh, my data
Oh,
is here. Look at that.
I just might
When
have
you're
to,
ready.
yeah, I just might have to do that because I really endorse Practice Better full heartedly. Like I said before, most of my mentees inside Catalyst Studio use it. And so thank you again for all that you do for our practitioners because I can tell Practice Better is an EMR that's on a mission that's greater than just medical care, but really whole global wellness and helping everybody thrive. Thank you. I have one last question I ask everybody that I interview. What kind of fun activity would we have found you doing on a Saturday in 4th grade when you were about 10 years old?
Oh gosh, that's such an interesting question. Fourth grade, I gotta go back. Okay, activity on a Saturday. Honestly, I think I would be at the park. I
Oh,
really enjoyed being at the park and just being outdoors. It's kind of sad to see. And again, coming from the teacher background, there's so many kids who don't even get outside Honestly, they
Yeah.
spend all day and all night in their houses on devices and stuff like
Mhm.
that. I really enjoyed the park. A swing was just a place of freedom for me. And, you stretch out your legs. How high can I get? Running on
Yes.
the slides. And I still take that enjoyment now, even with my son, just taking him to different kinds of parks and kind of reliving childhood. So I think just getting out in nature and being at the park, sometimes it's the simple things. We don't have to do the expensive, amusement
Yes.
park or anything. There's neighborhood parks. Just a swing and a slide is good.
Oh, I love this. Thank you. You're inspiring me. I love asking everybody what they did for fun because it's a way to your inner child. And it's nice to kind of go back and say, hey, maybe we need to go do that again. Maybe go play at the park today with your son and just rekindle that. It sounds like you already do that, but thank you for sharing. It's such a special memory. Oh, my
Thank
goodness.
you. And thank you so
Thank
much for
you.
having me.
Yes. Oh, thank you everybody for listening. Please like and subscribe, share this with a colleague, and try practice better. If you get anything out of this, you can hear how heart centered, how driven, and core value mission based company this Practice Better is. And they've given you an offer you can't refuse. So play around in the sandbox, see if it fits for you. Check out the show links for the discount code. And I hope to see you again, Natalie. I'm sure Practice Better is going to be doing leaps and bounds more in the next future. So maybe I can promise to have you come back and we can talk more later.
Absolutely. You can't refuse me. I'm coming back.
Yay! Oh, goodness. Well, thank you, everybody. Remember to practice that sixth vital sign, which is creativity, every day. That gets you tapped back into your right brain so that you can do what you can with love and ease and joy. And remember to keep coloring outside the lines. Till next time, have a great day.